Miss Saur, Darkchylde, and welcome back to Let's Replay the Ace Attorney trilogies. Last time, we learned that a former client of ours has been declared guilty by, for surprise surprise, another murder. Only the person that got her behind bars was a shoddy work from myself. So, for the beginning of a new year of the Ace Attorney law offices, we decided to do a retry of her trial. And after going through an interesting, investigation, involving talking to an old man at a park, and an interesting chef from a French restaurant, and a little bit of help from Detective Gumshoe because he pretty much shoved the case in our faces, making us redo this case. So, without further ado, let us continue onward, with the second day being the trial. January 7, in 2019, 9:48 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1.
Oh, I see. I guess I should have expected this. Nobody saw the other guy, huh? But he was there when I took the coffee over. Scout's honor.
Maggie!
Detective Gumshoe!
Are you doing alright? How are you feeling?
As if you need to ask either question, sir?
Don't let him get you down, Maggie. And don't forget to eat well, okay?
Roger.
And you. Yes? You'd better square this case away. You got it, pal? Maggie's innocence, you hear? If you screw up again, then I'll be doing some squaring away myself. Squaring away some paperwork for your arrest. He's serious.
Hey, Detective! You're on our side for once, right?
Yup.
So you'll be able to help out Maggie, right? Really? Can you, sir?
Oh, of course. I've got the situation under control. I'm gonna be the first witness on the stand today. If something I say doesn't mesh with the facts, make sure you iron it out, alright? Isn't that what we usually do when you're on the trial stand? Sure. Okay. We're forming a united front today. Hey, pal, you get me?
I can't recall how grateful I am, sir. I've always admired you so much, Detective. I know I can count on you. It looks like it should all go pretty smoothly today, huh?
I can only wish. January 7, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom Number 4. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird. The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Bitter.
Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? What's wrong? Nothing. It's just whenever I addressed you in your previous trial, your response was, "You was talking to me?" it was a little, well, intimidating.
No, that wasn't me. It was a phony phoenix.
I see. So our trusty Phoenix Wright is back with us now, is he?
Our trusty?
So, Mr. Gora, your opening statement, please.
Mr. Trite? Whether you're a fake or the real deal, we'll find out soon enough through this trial today.
But I can already tell you. I'm the real Phoenix Wright.
I wasn't questioning whether you were Phoenix Wright or not. I was questioning whether you had studied law or not.
There might be a few lawyers in real life that might be questioning that. Even people that are not lawyers would question that.
That's what I intend to find out.
There's no denying it. Behind that mask is a man who really hates me for some reason or another.
As everyone is aware, the court has already given the verdict on this case once. Therefore, I won't stand for irrelevant testimony during this retrial. Nor will I stand for a simple repetition of evidence presented in the last trial.
I'm not planning on repeating anything that phony of me said. Trust me.
Now then, Mr. Gona, please summon your first witness.
Let's start with the formality, shall we? Name and occupation.
Witness, state your name for the court.
Sorry, sir. The name's Police Department Detective, occupation Dick Gumshoe.
Other way around, Detective.
Sorry. Anyway, I'm an officer in charge of this case since yesterday, sir.
Since yesterday?
Yeah, the guy who was on the initial investigation tied up with another case now.
I hope Gumshoe's really got everything under control, for everyone's sake.
I see. So, Detective Gumshoe, would you outline for the court the basic facts of this case?
Yes, sir. The victim was named Glenn Elg. He was a professional programmer. He was on the payroll of Blue Screens Incorporated, a local company. This is the victim's autopsy report.
The court accepts this into evidence.
And here are the floor plans to the restaurant. When the incident took place, the victim was sitting right here. The poisoned coffee was brought over to him by the witness. Waitress.
The waitress being the accused?
Yeah. The victim died from poisoning almost immediately after he took a sip from the coffee. At the time of the incident, there were 2 other people in the restaurant. Mr. Juan Armstrong, the owner and chef, and a regular by the name of Victor Kubo.
It still seems to be a very straightforward case to me.
Come, Detective. Take up this hammer and nail the defendant's coffin shut with your own 2 hands.
Now then, Detective Gumshoe, let's have your testimony.
Yes, sir. Try to hold on there, When the incident took place, the victim was alone at the table, sir. We understand that the guy, Glenn Elg, was listening to the radio at the time. Traces of poison were found in his coffee cup. And what we found was potassium cyanide. That stuff really packs a punch. And, it looks like Miss Bird might have had, well, some kind of motive.
Using the dark aromatic depths of this coffee to conceal the poison? Classy lady.
The facts of this case seem to be ironclad. Mr. Wright, I would ask you to begin your cross-examination, but... Yes? Please, no intimidation tricks. Hicks, this time around. Is that understood?
I already told you! That wasn't me! When the incident took place, the victim was alone at his table, sir.
Hold it!
Can I stop you for just a minute?
Huh? What is it? Did I say something that contradicts the evidence? He's so desperate for that to be true. He's practically crying.
Your testimony just now doesn't match what the testimony given by Miss Bird. She claims that there was another man at the victim's table.
Yeah, that's what she said, and I...
But the killer wouldn't say that when he faced the homicide conviction.
Hey!
Sadly, her testimony isn't supported by the owner or the customer. Isn't that right, Detective Belcher?
Yeah, that's true. Their two testimonies tie up on that. They both said there was no other guy at the table. What should I do? Should I press on this point a little harder or not? I feel like we should. Well, maybe the other witness just missed him. Perhaps their view of the victim's table was obscured in some way.
That argument is as weak as copy of très bien trait. I have here, in my possession, a ticket.
A ticket? Looks more like a photo to me.
Yes, a one-way ticket to Guiltyville, proclamation of the defendant. This is a photo taken from near the entrance to the kitchen.
This is the scene as witnessed by the chef moments after the poisoning took place, correct?
I think the court will agree that with such a clear view of the crime scene, Mr. Trite could have possibly overlooked the second person at the table.
It certainly seems to show the victim's table extremely clearly.
Okay, let's see. Which statement do I want to press now? This one seems good.
Hold it!
So traces of the poison were found in the coffee cup of nowhere else?
Not sure I get ya, pal.
Was the poison a liquid or was it a powder?
If I had to put it in layman's terms, I'd say it was a powdery substance.
So the poison could have been in anything that was on the table.
Sugar, salt, pepper.
Objection!
Do you put salt and pepper in your coffee? Try it.
The victim took his coffee, black, with no sugar.
It seems that the poison could only have been in the coffee. What should I do? Should I press this point a little harder or not? Let's press it. Are you absolutely certain that the victim even drank any of his coffee?
Huh? What do you mean?
According to this file, the poison was found in the victim's coffee cup. But what proof is there that the victim even drank any of it?
Oh, hey, you're right. That's what I think.
In case you're wondering, the last objection was for the detective here.
For me?
Oh hey, you're right. You may be fooling the court, but I'm not falling for it. If you have the time to waste, you have time to present the piece of evidence.
That piece, sir?
Yes, that piece.
What piece was it again?
This.
Should I be grateful that this cut is only hot enough to give me this first-degree burns? Oh, now I remember. This is the, victim's coffee cup.
Yes, the victim's cup. Take a good look at the rim.
Oh yes, it's unmistakable. There is clearly a coffee stain on it.
Conclusive proof that the victim did drink the poisoned coffee that was in this cup. The victim gulped down bitter death that the waitress brought to him. Like this.
Ugh. For the record, the only prints on the cup were the victims and the defendants. Upon further inspection, this cup, we found a certain criminal substance. Chemical substance. And what we found was potassium cyanide. That stuff really packs a punch.
No, let's not press that one.
And, it looks like Miss Bird might have had
How much
some
is
kind
too
of
much?
motive.
A lethal dose of 0.2 grams. That's about enough
Some
to finish
kind of
anyone.
motive?
0.2 grams? How much is that?
Yeah, but if you ask me, it's been blown away out of proportion.
Objection!
You know what my golden rule is, detective? Check out a bad cup of coffee. You can always get another.
Huh? I don't get it.
I'm saying we can always get another witness on the stand if we have to chuck you out.
Oh,
So stick to the facts, detective. Now then, what was Mrs. Bird's motive?
come on, Gumshoe. They said she wanted to steal the lottery ticket.
I knew it.
That's what we heard yesterday, too. It disappeared from the scene of the crime.
And it wasn't just any lottery ticket. It was the winning ticket for $500,000. Mr. Armstrong knew about the ticket too, didn't he? But he stole the wrong one.
Then, is it possible Maggie stole the winning ticket? What should I do? Should I press him on this one? Yeah, let's press him.
Wait a minute!
The mere fact that the lottery ticket disappeared in no way implicates my client.
I have here in my hand the very ticket in question.
That's the $500,000 lottery ticket.
One of the female police officers found it when she was conducting a search of the defendant. What?
Order, order!
She's quite a lucky bird, our little waitress.
You will submit that ticket as evidence to the court immediately.
I better keep an eye on that ticket. The way the judge's voice is quivering.
This ticket was presented to the court in the previous trial too. But it feels heavier now somehow. $500,000, you say?
It's just a scrap of paper. What matters is where it was found, Your Honor.
That's on Maggie's person, unfortunately.
That's enough. The facts of this case seem overwhelmingly clear to me. The defendant had ample opportunity to commit the crime of which she is charged. Furthermore, it seems beyond reasonable doubt that she did indeed commit the crime. There is also the matter of the $500,000 lottery ticket. That alone provides a very credible motive. I mean, for that sum of money, even I might attempt to bend the rules.
I don't like an old man who is weak to the siren call of money. Not good, Nick. The evidence against Maggie is starting to pile up fast.
Yeah, that's because the court has ruled guilty once already.
I'd say it's about time to wrap up this repeat performance with a final decisive piece of evidence.
He's got more evidence against Maggie?
This is the apron that delightful Miss Bird was wearing at the time. That's not the cleanest apron I've seen.
That stain looks like... Can it be blood, can it?
It seems the star of our play is a little flustered. And somehow spilled coffee on herself.
The coffee? That's not exactly the first thing that caught my eye.
Of course, the stain isn't the most interesting thing about this apron. No, there's something else that stands out even more.
Something else? I presume you mean...
Of course, I'm referring to the pocket.
The pocket?
A search carried right after the incident covered this. Potassium cyanate, the very poison used by the killer, was in her apron pocket.
A bottle of poison? In Maggie's pocket? Yeah, and Maggie's prints were the only ones on it. What?
Order! 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 The court will accept these items into evidence. There's something still bothering me, Mr. Godot. Why have you not explained the blood stain to the court?
Bloodstain? What bloodstain would that be?
Don't play games, prosecutor. The blood color stains that's smothered all over this old apron.
That's ridiculous. No one told me anything about a bloodstain.
You don't need to be told, just look at it.
Oh, well, detective? Could the stain really be blood?
No way, sir. That's just ketchup, sir.
Ketchup?
She must have gotten some on her apron while taking some of her breakfast that day. You could have spoken up a little sooner, Detective Gumshoe.
Pull another stunt like that, and I'll have you drink 17 cups of ketchup, witness.
I thought everyone knew that it was already. I haven't seen anything yet to make me doubt the last ruling I made on this case. The motive, the opportunity, and the supporting evidence. They have all been clearly established.
Well, Trite. Seems you really are a phony after all.
You really know how to drive a man nuts. Witness, please continue with your testimony. Describe for the court the crime scene and the findings in your investigation there. The crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. by a kind of scary old man, sir. Poor Maggie was passed out from the shock. It must have been real tough for her. The victim didn't have any identification on him. But we figured out who he was pretty quick, and when the investigation went smoothly, when Maggie was searched, we found the lottery ticket and the bottle of poison. And that's it. There was nothing else missing from the crime scene. You identified the victim and secured your prime suspect. Very good.
Last chance to convince the court you're a real lawyer, Trite.
Okay, there are only two statements that bother me. Let's go to statement 4 first. But we figured out who he was pretty quick, and then the investigation went smoothly. Wait a sec. Did I say something dumb again? Let me paraphrase that, just what you just testified to this court. The victim didn't have any form of ID on him. That's basically what you said, yes? Yeah, basically. In that case, how were you able to identify the victim so quickly? Oh, that. He's so let down. He's got a whole sagging shoulders and puppy eyes going thing. Here was a prescription bag on the victim's table along with the lottery ticket. We got the victim's name from the medical records of the doc who prescribed the meds. That's a reliable enough source for the court. What should I do? Should I leave this one alone or ask for more? Actually, yeah, let's ask about that prescription bag. So, what sort of medicine was in the bag? Well, actually, the bag we found was empty. What? Yeah, completely empty. It was completely empty?
You're entering an empty paper bag as evidence? Desperate, are you, Trite? Now what happened with the investigation after that, Detective?
Okay, on to the other statement that bothered me.
Statement 6.
And that was it. There was nothing else missing from the scene of the crime.
Wanna bet?
Objection!
Detective Gumshoe, I think I should point something out to you. There is one small contradiction in your testimony.
Oh, finally! I'm getting real anxious just waiting, so hurry up, will ya?
You testified that nothing was missing from the crime scene. However, the prescription bag you mentioned was empty. Did the officers recover the medicine from the scene of the crime later?
No, they didn't.
The victim was given a prescription right before going to Trisby. Where, then, did the medicine disappear to?
You are too cool, pal.
Indeed. Due consideration wasn't given to the victim's prescription in the previous trial. Witness, why do you always overlook such vital pieces of evidence?
I guess that's the most careless thing I've done so far, huh?
The victim was killed by poison, and the victim's medicine mysteriously disappeared. The victim's own prescription could have been the lethal poison itself. Order! Order! Well, Mr. Godot, what have you to say about that?
That's all.
What?
Read for the court the name of the clinic and the prescription bag, if you will.
What's the clinic's name got to do with anything? New Ear Orgology Clinic? Organology? I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that word. I'll look into it later. Just what kind of illness was the victim suffering from, Mr. Godot?
Hardly an illness, Your Honor. More like a bitter war wound, you could say.
A war wound?
The day before the incident, Mr. Elg found himself in a fight. He took a blow to the side of the head, and it ruptured his eardrum.
He ruptured his eardrum? Then what on earth was the prescription he was given?
It was the cream that was to be applied topically inside the ear canal, not to be ingested.
What?
It's mentioned in the autopsy report if you read the fine print.
Let me look at that. No, it isn't. You liar.
They found traces of the medication in the victim's left ear.
Yes, here it is, in very fine print. Very fine print.
It seems Mr. Elk correctly applied some of his medication while he was at Trebia. Therefore, it would be absurd to believe that he would eat his medication.
Ugh. It seems that this medication is irrelevant to the case after all. No.
Nick, if you don't think of something quick, it'll be over.
She's right. But I can't get away with any old weak objections. What should I do? Let's go for broke and push it. Only moments ago, Mr. Godot made the following statement. It seems Mr. Elk correctly applied some of his medicine while he was at Tresbien. If that's the case, then why was the medicine not found at the scene of the crime?
But the medicine in question was for topical use inside the ear canal.
Objection!
That doesn't change the fact that it could not be found at the scene of the crime. However, insignificantly it may seem, it's a lawyer's duty to pursue the truth.
Objection!
You know as well as I do that the medications are relevant. It hardly seems likely that a prescription drug would contain potassium cyanide.
Objection!
It hardly seems likely that the coffee the waitress served could contain it either. But it did. The possibility is still undeniable. That's enough. Mr. Godot, this is the detective the only witness the prosecution wishes to call? Mr. Godot? I got my own witness I'd like to call, sir. It's the old man who was there in the restaurant on the day of the murder. Victor Kubo? The pigeon hater? Very well. The matter of the disappearing medicine seems little more than trivial right at best. However, it wasn't explored at all in the previous trial. And that is something that bothers me.
Yay! Good job, Nick.
The court will now adjourn for a 10-minute recess, after which we will hear from the prosecution's next witness.
I suppose this means I'll just have to finish you off in my last 6 cups.
Court is adjourned for recess. January 7, 11:03 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1.
That was close.
Tell me about it. I nearly died in there.
That's my line, sir. No, it's my line. I only think he did die a little bit. Looks like we all nearly died in there. I can't believe Detective Darkchylde. How could he betray us like that? Huh? He said he'd help me. He totally set me up.
I don't think he meant to do that, Maggie. He was backed into a corner. I mean, the guy got a lot to do. He's got to do his job, right?
It's okay. I know all about lies and betrayal. I've had them my whole life. But it really hurts this time. I felt like someone punched me hard in the stomach. I hate that guy. I don't ever want to see him again.
Poor gumshoe.
So the next witness is going to be that old guy from the park, right?
Yeah, Mr. Kubo. Lover of waitress outfits and projectile seeds.
I bet he's going to be stubborn. I mean, he's pretty set in his ways, you know? Yeah, he's a big old grouch. Are you able to handle him, Nick?
Yeah, I can take whatever he throws at me. Even those never-ending bird seeds. January 7th, 11:15 a.m. District Court, Courtroom Number 4. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Maggie Bird. Mr. Godot, your next witness, please.
The prosecution calls the lucky old-timer who caught the show over a cup of coffee. Will the witness please take the stand? Name and occupation, if you don't mind.
My name is Mr. Kubo, born and bred in the land of the rising sun. Honor and duty are what make me. Mind you, I can be quite emotional at times too. We don't need to hear about that, Mr. Kubo. Just tell the court your occupation. My occupation? Listen, young'un. How much call you think there is for Kubo embroidery here?
Kimono embroidery?
That's what I do, or did back in Japan. And I embroidered family crests on kimonos. My ancestors were embroidering kimonos before this country even existed.
Real craftsmen. They're a dying breed. Hey, maybe he can embroider my costume sometime.
Anyway, like I said, there's not much demand for that kind of thing here. So I had to take a job working in the cash register at a burger joint, pretending to smile.
That burger joint would have been better for putting him in the kitchen.
Now then, witness. Yes, were you in the restaurant at the time of the incident? Oh yes, I was eating some seeds for a cappuccino.
Seeds?
What do you think these are?
I see.
So you saw everything that happened, Graham?
Did I? Oh yes I did. I saw it all.
Then please tell the court. We're all ears.
Sure. I'll tell you every last detail.
He's really getting into this. This is not gonna be fun. I'm doing his testimony.
The young man was reading the sports paper. The serving girl brought him a cappuccino. Oh, but she put something in it. That man took one sip, like it looked like he was in terrible pain, and then collapsed. That's the serving girl, right in the defendant's chair. I remember her well.
Mr. Kubo, is she not a serving girl? Please refer to her as a waitress.
You're as bad as the rest of them. All of these newfangled words. What's wrong with old-fashioned ones,
Newfangled?
All of this radios and glasses. It's wireless and spectacles, I tell ya.
Excuse me?
Listen to me, everyone. And don't forget the old values. Don't let the good old days slip away.
Well, I think it's time to begin the cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor. And I feel like that fourth statement doesn't feel good. The young man was reading a sports paper. The serving girl brought him a cappuccino. Oh, but she put something in it. That man took one sip of it. It looked like he was in terrible pain and then collapsed. That's the serving girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well.
Hold it!
You said, I remember her well, in reference to the waitress? Did you have any particular features hers that you can identify her by?
Particular features? It's a disgrace. What? That's what it is.
Sorry?
You can see all the way up her, you know. She's practically naked in that uniform!
Objection!
So the particular figure you recognize about her, the waitress, was her outfit? But anyone could wear such a uniform, even me!
Mr. Wright, please spare the court any further mental anguish from that image.
Don't get all excited, Nick. You gotta keep yourself together.
I guess I got a bit carried away there. There are other things I recognize about her, too.
He seems pretty sure of himself. What should I do?
Press harder, of course.
Sure, you may. You saw a waitress take coffee over to the victim. But what matters is whether you saw that, whether that witness was Maggie Bird or not.
Quite right. Mr. Kubo, these other features that you recognize about the defendant, I would ask you to add them to your testimony.
Sure. There was a ribbon in her hair, and their apron straps were loose.
Hold it!
You do seem to remember several details about her appearance. But what about the most crucial detail of all? Her face?
As if I wouldn't remember that.
Objection!
The witness noticed the straps of the accused apron. It unless they make a mistake about her face.
That's right. I can even tell you the color of the ribbon in her hair. It was red.
So you see there's nothing wrong with the witness's eyesight.
There's no doubt he remembers the waitress pretty well. What should I do? I get the feeling there's something more to this somehow. Yeah, let's ask about her back. The identifying features you described are all things you would see from the back.
So what?
Is it possible that you never saw the waitress from the front at all?
Objection!
He's got you there, Gramps.
People normally talk about facial features when they're asked to describe a person. But this witness's testimony is nothing but the straps and ribbons.
This is harassment. I tell you, who I'm not obsessed with straps and ribbons. I'm just telling you what I saw.
Mr. Kubo, the court requests that you add details about any identifying features. Features you observed from the front, that is, to your testimony.
Sure.
His testimony is getting longer and longer.
And if I can't find a hole in it soon, it'll get even longer, I'll bet.
There wasn't anything that caught my interest. It's about her when I saw her from the front.
Wanna bet?
Objection!
Mr. Kubo, I would like you to please take a look at this.
That filthy thing would suit filth like you just perfectly. Actually, it reminds me of what my grandson looks like just after he's done eating.
Have you ever seen this before?
Of course I haven't. Do you think I'd forget something as dirty as that? Well, you half-witted clot. What? What is it? Ever since I said you half-witted clot, there's been an eerie silence in here.
Mr. Kubo, this apron is the apron worn by the defendant on the day of the poisoning. And as you just said yourself, you wouldn't forget something like this. Which means if you had really seen this apron before... yes, you know what I'm getting at. You couldn't have possibly seen the waitress from the front. Oops. Oops. Witness, you can't just oops your way out of this.
Well. Looks like we finally have a genuine trial here. Listen, Trite. Here are the facts. On the day of the incident, there was only one waitress in the restaurant.
That being the defendant, Miss Maggie Bird.
Exactly. And when one waitress puts the poison in the cup of coffee, this guy was watching.
I hope you understand the gravity of the situation, Mr. Kudo. The fate of the defendant may rest on what you say you remember seeing.
Just tell the court exactly what you saw, Gramps.
You can rely on me, Captain. My noggin's in perfect working order. I can't remember a single occasion when I forgot what burger a customer ordered.
Can't remember? Probably more like he messed up many times. He's blocking it out.
Very well. Very well. Let's test just how good your memory and attention to detail is, Mr. Kudo. Tell us what you remember about the victim.
He was another one of those pesky young types, wearing a broken pair of spectacles. He had a newspaper in his right hand, and a noisy brat rustling its pages. The young man was listening to the wireless. Yes, I remember that well. Then the serving girl in question brought over a guapagimo. The little fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip.
The testimony we have just heard was the test how credible the witness's testimony memory is. It seems to me that he remembers the victim in great deal of detail.
Oh yes, I hate those you-know-what types who are vague about everything.
How are we gonna handle this, Nick?
We only need to do one thing. We just need to prove that the old man's memory is shot.
Just trip him up, you mean? Isn't that kinda cruel?
I suppose, but it's what I do best. And I know the statement the contradiction is.
He was another one of those pesky young types wearing a broken piece of spectacles. He had a newspaper in his right hand, and the noisy brat kept rustling its pages. The young man was listening to a wireless. I remember that well. Then the serving girl in question brought her the guapagimo. The little fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip.
Let's see.
Objection!
Mr. Kudo, do you remember what you were told at the start of this testimony? That this was a way of testing your credibility of your memory?
I I know. There's nothing wrong with my memory. I tell you, nothing! If I got anything wrong, I'll eat these bird seeds and sing the pigeon song.
Care to tell us where this is going, Trite?
According to Mr. Kudo, well, the victim was holding a paper in his right hand while drinking coffee with his free hand, which would make that his left.
What is this? His kindergarten?
But I would like the court to please take a look at this. That's the cup the victim used, correct? Yes. And on the rim, you'll notice the mark left by the victim's lips. Yes, there is a stain left by the coffee. If you consider where the stain is, you'll clearly see that the victim was holding the cup in his right hand.
How?
Well, Mr. Kudo, the court is waiting for your epic performance. You said you'd eat those seeds and sing the pigeon song.
Arg!
Mr. Kudo, I'm afraid this is simply not acceptable. I think the witness had better go.
Wait! If you think I'm going to stand here and listen to you tell me I'm mad, you're wrong! I don't care about that dirty coffee cup. I know what I saw.
You still insist on your testimony?
That young brat was holding the cup in his left hand. Oh yes, no question. I'm a good law-abiding citizen, I am. It's that dead young hotbot, and you spiky-haired yahoo, who are at fault. Who, me?
Thank you, old man. And we've heard quite enough from you today.
Don't call me old man, old man. Been around for 68 years, I have. You can't ignore me. Listen to what I've got to say.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo, but...
Sure. Why not hear a little more?
Mr. Godot?
But this is my 16th cup of coffee, so this is your final stand.
Thank you, Captain. I can rely on you can rely on Victor. The boy was wearing an earpiece in the same side as the green lens on his specs. He kept fiddling with it all the time. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup too. But then he used the same hand to pick up the cup in his left hand.
We know that the victim was wearing an unusual monocle over his left eye.
It wasn't a monocle, Your Honor. It was a small computer monitor often used by programmers.
A monitor? You mean like a television screen?
The inside of the lens has a screen that displays computer data. It's called an HMD. It's a common tool in the victim's line of work.
HDD, TV, DVD, CD, all these newfangled letters drive me mad, but they don't matter. I know what I saw, and I'm telling the truth.
It's true, he doesn't seem to be lying.
And those are the facts, in good old black and white.
We'll see about that.
The boy was wearing an earpiece in the same side as the green lens on his face.
I'm not sure what the relevance of this is, but... Mr. Kudo, there is something very strange about your observations of the victim.
What?
You say he was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the HMD?
No question. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. I could only see that side of his head from where I was sitting.
I don't think so.
What did you say?
You're no doubt unaware of this fact, Mr. Kubo. But the victim couldn't hear with his left ear. His eardrum was ruptured.
Eh?
Traces of medicine for his condition were found in his left ear canal. That's right, it's impossible that the victim was wearing his earpiece in his left ear. Because he couldn't even hear in that ear.
Is that true, Captain?
It is.
Pigeon! Pretty pigeons.
Order! This witness's testimony is completely unreliable. He only saw the waitress from behind, and he claims the victim was wearing an earpiece when he knows his eardrum was ruptured. Well, Mr. Goda?
A single drop of milk is all it takes to destroy the pure black magic in the cup. The old man is my drop of milk.
Captain, are you calling me a drip?
This is the victim's coffee cup in which the potassium cyanide was found. The mark on the rim clearly shows that the victim picked it up with his right hand.
I'll never back down. I know I'm right. The lad drank his guabagino with his left hand.
Let me put you out of your misery. Clearly the victim used both hands. He took a sip of the cup in his right and he switched to his left. That's the old man saw.
Objection!
Impossible! The witness had already testified on numerous occasions that the victim died immediately after taking just one sip of the coffee.
Objection!
Which hand the victim used to pick up the cup is irrelevant, Your Honor. The fact still stands. With one hand or the other, Mr. Elf drank poison coffee. Like this.
Objection!
Sadly, Mr. Goto, that doesn't wash. The point of this testimony was to establish whether the witness's testimony was credible. And the results are clear. The testimony given by this witness is useless. I believe it is time to conclude today's proceedings. I am satisfied that the witness is not deceiving in the court. But, to be frank, his testimony is a farce.
Did you have to be so frank? Take that, you preposterous old pony!
I'm sorry, Mr. Kubo, but you can't reach me from there. I'm ordering the defense and prosecution to investigate this case further. That is all for now. This court is adjourned.
Hold it! Wait! If we stop now, where does that leave me?
Leave you, Mr. Kudo?
Thanks to that blue-suited young upstart over there. I'm just a bumbling old man who can't even dot his own... dot his T's and cross his A's. Now,
How is your bad memory my fault?
I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo, but there's nothing I can do. I kept my mouth shut until now, but there's something else the court should know.
What?
There's more. To be perfectly honest, it might not be anything, but I want another chance. I want another crack at you, you young shark. Me? He's looking at me like I'm some sort of evil shogun. Well, and everyone, what do you say to one final showdown? The final chapter in this ascetic old man's scrapbook.
Sorry, Gramps, I've already had my 17th cup of coffee.
What have you got to lose, Captain? I have got you all. I'll give you all the cappuccinos you want if you come to my house after the trial. I may be 68 years old, but Victor Kudo is still a man.
That's enough, witness. I believe it will be quicker for the court to just hear your testimony.
You bet! That's quicker.
I can't believe this is happening.
You better get ready, youngster. I get the picture. Just quit throwing those seeds at me, would you? He's gonna be using some sort of infinite ammo code with that box of seeds. First of all, I want to stress that this might not be nothing. I'm not too sure myself. The young boy stumbled over the table as soon as he took one sip of his cappuccino. Well, the clumsy idiot upset the vase. He knocked it right over. It broke, and the strip of the cloth covering the table got completely soaked. Well, how about that? You turn things upside down,
Okay.
Is that all?
Yes, that's all. I remember it perfectly. Eh? You doubting me again? You're doubting a poor, defenseless old man?
No. Oh, we're not doubting you, Mr. Kudo.
Don't you get the feeling there's a question hanging on everyone's lips, Nick?
Yeah. So what? Probably. That's all I can think of. And I have to cross-examine this guy. And this...
You're a bird brain. That's all you can think of.
Very well. Mr. Wright, your final cross-examination, please. And make it snappy.
All right.
First of all, I want to stress that this might not. First of all, I want to stress that this might be nothing. I'm not too sure myself.
Hold it!
The court generally prefers if witnesses are sure of themselves, Mr. Kudo.
Noisy brat! I'm warning you, I'm more savage than a macho man right now. You won't beat me with this testimony. Ow! Ow! Oh, he's chucking those seeds harder than ever. I better be careful.
Come on, Nick, nail him.
The young boy stumbled over the table as soon as he took one sip of his cappuccino.
Hold it!
The court has already heard that testimony, Mr. Kudo.
I know that. I was just setting the mood. How else am I supposed to build up the suspense,
The suspense?
Yes. Now, what do you think?
Should I work on the audience? It's a bit more?
No, please continue, Mr. Kubo, as quickly as possible.
All right, now, where was I? Ah, yes, the young boy slopped over the table and... Well, the clumsy idiot upset the vase. He knocked it right over.
Objection!
Mr. Kudo, this is a photograph of the crime scene.
So what?
Look carefully at the table. The vase is there, intact.
Huh?
Lost your tongue, Granddad?
I'm no granddad of yours, Hopscotch. Ow!
Enough! If you throw any more seeds in this courtroom... What is it now?
I just remembered something.
Yes, go on. The broken vase. It was on my table.
What?
Well, you see... It startled me when the young man collapsed. So I stood up. That must have been when it fell over. The vase on my table, I mean.
The vase on your table?
Yes, it was on my table. And that's how my groin came to be completely soaked.
A little too much information, dude.
Thank you, Mr. Kudo. You've clearly earned your kudos for today.
I'd like to ask a question now. Have I been any use at all?
Perhaps that's something you should reflect on yourself, Mr. Kudo.
Wait a minute. If that's the case, there's more. I've got more to say. Oh, yes, I remember something else.
Bailiff, escort the witness out of the courtroom.
Wait, listen to me.
Well, we seem to have been considerably sidetracked. And I am still not in a position to deliver a verdict. The defendant has not been positively identified as the witness in question. Additionally, there are two disparities in the testimony we have heard thus far.
The mark on the coffee cup that the victim supposedly drank with his left hand, and the earpiece which was inserted into his left ear, out of which he couldn't hear.
Wow, Nick, you did it!
I therefore require both the defense and the prosecution to further investigate the facts.
Yes, Your Honor.
There is one more thing before I call today's session to an end.
One more thing, Your Honor?
The witness we just heard from. He is more insistent that his testimony should be of use. So he summarized it accordingly into this statement.
Okay.
You may each have a copy of it if you wish.
Whatever. The prosecution doesn't need props like that. Yeah, that's really mad, huh?
Yeah, I would be too.
Very well. Here you are then, Mr. Wright. There are 3 copies. My own, yours, and Mr. Goda.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry. This isn't a piece of testimony. More like a 5-year-old's apology.
What the heck are we supposed to do with 3 copies?
That is all. This court is adjourned.
Well, that old man's testimony was no good for us. And we gotta do another day of investigation. So, if you enjoyed today's episode, and would love to see more to find out where this trial goes, hit that like and subscribe button, leave a comment if you want, ring the bell to be notified when our next video comes out. We do new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and occasionally Saturday and Sundays. Till the next episode, this is Saur Darkchylde, signing off. Have a good night, folks.